And now, our feature presentation.
Hello, welcome to another episode of It Sure Is a Podcast. We are returning after experiencing whatever the heck the Summer Games Fest was.
I didn't really watch a lot, but I also didn't see a lot come out of it.
Yeah, I think, and I wanted to start off with this. I think we've been spoiled by Nintendo. I think Nintendo has spoiled us because there's an expectation that comes from that. Let me explain. So whenever there's a Nintendo Direct, every single title they announce, except for like one or two, which the one or two are duds, you know. Yeah, every
Every console has that.
yeah, exactly. But all of them are heavy hitters that you've never heard of, and it's always a surprise. And I think whenever we have an online presentation kind of like this, our brain immediately goes to, what's the new thing? Oh my gosh, we're
Well,
gonna.
Nintendo also does it right because they're like, "Hey, this game is coming out and it looks awesome," and they're like, "Yeah, it's coming out in 2 months," whereas everyone else is like, "In 6 years, you guys might get a second trailer about this game," and it's like, well, I don't care. I could be dead in 6 years. It doesn't matter.
In 2 months, that's a little more believable. I might be able to pull through in
Yeah,
6 months.
I might actually care to go on living for another 2 months to experience this game. But I mean, over 10 years now, and we're still waiting on Elder Scrolls. Yep, I had to throw it in there. You knew it was coming. But no,
I
but
knew
seriously,
that's where the salt came from. I
but
could
it's not
taste it over
even
here.
just that. It's anything.
Oh yeah.
Like the only things that are coming out now with any regularity are remakes.
Yes.
Resident Evil 4 was supposed to be this huge announcement at Summerfest, and it's like Resident Evil 4 is not that old.
That's what I was confused about.
And the graphics aren't that bad on it, considering like the age it came out, and the gameplay was. I didn't beat it, but I did start it and I was playing it. And I'm like, this is actually really good.
Yeah,
I don't.
I'm a little baffled by why they would remake it, but also I understand that Resident Evil, they went through their phase of, they were the remakes of the first one and then Code Veronica, right? And then there's
But
a
those
remake
are
of
like,
2 and 3.
yeah, but those are so old compared to everything else. Resident Evil 4 is what, 10 years old?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe
I guess
maybe a little older, but like the original Resident Evils came out in like the 90s, didn't they?
yeah, the
Like
original
late
ones.
90s?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a reason I guess to remake those couple, but I don't know.
Yeah, it does look nice. It's just I think they just have the engine and they're just like, all right, we're just gonna remake all our games moving forward. So like, are we gonna get a remake of 5? Are we gonna get a remake of 6?
That's where I'm like, where do you stop? And here's the thing, I should clarify. I love remakes of games. I really do. Re-releases, remasters, whatever you want to be able to play these older games on, your current consoles and stuff. I like that as an option. What I don't like is that all of these game developers are re-releasing these or remastering them or whatever instead of coming up with new titles. This is something you do in tandem with releasing new games. You don't use it as a substitute for new content. And that's what everyone is doing, and it sucks.
What they should do is they should do kind of what what was it? The Star Wars movies before they all just went to TV and kind of fell off because of just whatever. They were doing, all right, 1 year you would get a mainline movie, episode 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Then the next year you would get an offshoot movie. That's when we got Rogue One and Solo.
Rogue One was amazing. Solo was amazing. Wasn't there supposed to be a third one that never came out?
Yeah, because of after just all the Star Wars stuff. But then we went into COVID territory, and they were just like, all right, we're just going to back off, and we're just going to do some other stuff.
I think they also wound up, they saw how popular streaming was, and I think they turned, because I think it was supposed to be a Boba Fett movie, and I think they just wound up turning it into the TV show.
Maybe. Who knows with that? But
yeah,
I feel like if studios are going to remake, especially Capcom, and Capcom is now in good standings with everybody, because for the longest time they weren't. I think they should
Wasn't
do
that
a
the
remake 1 year and then, the next year or so, like space it out, have stuff in between so you can have a
and that's what
consistent
I'm
line of content coming out for people.
like. I'm a hypocrite. They remade, or they I shouldn't say they even remade. They just re-released the Mass Effect games. I love it because then I don't have to pull out my old console and play it all. It comes with all the DLC. It's maybe introduced to new people. I love that.
Yeah.
However, they're still doing other stuff. They're still working on like the new Dragon Age to come out. They had worked on Andromeda, and I know everybody hated it, but at least they're still pushing forward and trying to come out with new titles.
Yeah, in between.
Yeah,
It's
like
a,
it's not they're just like, hey, we're gonna re-release Mass Effect 1 and then 2 years later Mass Effect 2. It's no, they're doing stuff.
ooh. I'm just double checking all the links I sent you just for the games we're going to talk about, and I get this weird like waifu baby impregnating simulator as
I'm sorry, what?
a little commercial on my phone.
Uh
Waifu dress up impregnate baby simulator, something like that.
that sounds illegal as all hell.
I don't know. That's just what the mobile game is showing me. They're trying to sell me on it. Mobile game commercials are wild.
I don't think I've ever gotten those.
Well, I do game a bit, so
I mean, I 1000% think if you game more, you're gonna get those ads way more.
yeah.
Because they're like, oh, you like to play, what's the one RuneScape? They're like, oh, you like to play RuneScape? You're totally gonna love this game. And you're like, if they were 18 and up, maybe. But this baby stuff, not cool.
No, like impregnating to have a baby, not like
Oh,
they're
okay.
younger than that.
The way that was worded was that's not how it
yeah.
sounded.
All right, let's clear that up. No, it's like it's almost like a wife simulator more or
Okay.
less. That is
Okay. That's
Yeah.
why I said I thought it sounded illegal. I'm like, that's pedophile territory.
yeah. Yeah, if I said it wrong, my apologies. It's like I don't know, it's some MMO,
Man,
but it's
everybody
just,
stopped listening to this episode after like 5 minutes. I
Yeah,
don't get
what-
it.
what the hell? Yeah, this is just me coming from, me not putting together what I'm saying in my brain. I understand what I'm saying, but everyone else on the outside is like, "Oh, what? Oh no." Yeah, the game looks like it's a very high detailed model, and of course, everything is over proportionalized.
Well,
And then
yeah,
they're
that's
just
what
like,
makes
"Oh,
this fun.
master, would we like to have a child?" Like stuff like that. Dude,
No foreplay? They're just like,
No,
yo, knock
yeah.
me up?
yeah,
You
no
know, we gotta
foreplay
put a
at
little
all.
bit of intrigue in there.
My favorite mobile cell phone video game commercials are the ones, and my friend pointed this out to me a while back, where they will have someone do it in English, right? And then they will dub it in English and put it over top, and it just doesn't line up quite right, and I don't understand why they do that.
So it's just English with English subtitles.
No, it's English, but then they dub it, but it's also in English. So, all right, I'm gonna say the. Okay, let me give you an example. All right, there's like a guy pops up on the screen and he says, "This game's really cool. It actually looks like the game that's in the commercial." All right, so they take that clip, and then they cut out the audio of the guy talking, and they just have someone else go, "Oh, look at this game. It's really cool. It looks like just the game in the commercial."
Why?
And they put it over it.
Yeah,
I don't understand why they do it.
Maybe
Like,
they don't like that actor's voice. They're like, you got a
No,
great
it's
face.
all of them. It's all of them, regardless of
Oh.
what face. They always do that, and I do not understand why.
I bet it's probably because they just film it somewhere, and then they probably do that, but for every language they're trying to
And they
like
just throw it over.
French.
But wouldn't you just keep
Mandarin.
the original audio
For English? You
yeah.
would think, but maybe they take it out because, like, I mean, they speak over in the UK. They speak English, but maybe they put somebody in who has more of just the native accent there.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But
It's
my
definitely
thing
weird.
is just like, why do you just take I understand that cutting that all up and dubbing over for everyone else,
But why?
but why for?
Who knows?
Probably, you know what happens? They probably record just in the office, and there's so much noise, and then they like go into like a sound booth somewhere else, or like hire people. Like, hey, you got your own sound booth at home. Could you just be cool and just say these lines into this microphone and then send it our way?
$1,000.
Yeah, $1,000. There you go.
They're like,
Done.
we'll give you 50, and here's a $20 Subway gift card.
Pretty much. It's pretty accurate on how most people get paid now, especially
Dude's like,
for that kind
man.
of work.
Well, with how expensive everything is now too, they'd probably be like, okay.
I mean, Subway's pretty bomb. All right, I'll go get a
I can
sandwich.
get like 3 subs with that gift card, I guess.
That's so sad because that's accurate.
And it's like
$50.
$5 foot long, and it's like, no, it's actually $7.50 for your $5 foot long.
Yeah, and I don't even think they do that anymore. I haven't been to Subway in ages.
Probably
but...
not. I doubt. And well, that's not fair. All of these bigger corporations can do that. All of this inflation stuff. We're getting into political territory. I'm gonna save that for my my new podcast. You know.
Eric complains.
Vogie tells it like it is. I don't know. That's a working title. We'll figure out a better one.
I was gonna bring up that it's the fun fact about. All right, anywhere else there's a Subway, they cannot legally call it bread. Like the bread they make, they can't legally call it bread.
Why?
Because it has too many ingredients that makes it considered more of a cake.
That's disturbing.
Right? Here they could call it bread. No one cares. But like in any other part of the world, if there's a Subway, like you won't see signs like fresh baked bread.
Oh, well, yeah, that's because other countries have actual bread, whereas, like, yeah, we just have cake. It's America.
Someone takes like plain white bread and they're just like lace it in sugar, put a glaze on it, roast it, and then like there you go, roast it.
I just imagine any European trying American bread, like the U.S. bread, and immediately getting diabetes from it.
Oh, I believe it.
There's like, how? How do you do this?
Takes a bite, leg falls off. Looks over, rolls away. So, speaking of legs falling off, because we got off topic as we usually do.
I had like 10 more minutes of off topic stuff.
Yeah.
So
I'm on a timer today, so we got to stay focused and focused. So, Summer Games Fest, Nintendo spoils us with having all heavy hitters, and then when we see something like this, I'm glad we still have it. I just have to learn to lower my expectations or put them in the right spot, if that makes sense.
I just think you should have low expectations. And I don't mean that like in there are a lot of, like you're saying, there's still a lot of cool games out there, but because it's become such a mainstream thing, we're not gonna see, like back in the day, it was like once every couple months there was just a legendary game coming out.
Yes.
And you just don't get that now because they're like, oh, it's a great concept. Make it in like 3 months and get it out. I want my money. And it's sad. I know that's very
Wait,
old
you want
school
your money or you want to give them your money?
No, like the corporations
you're
just
talking as a
want
corporation.
Yeah,
Okay,
like an
okay.
executive's just like, awesome idea, get it out in 6 months or you're fired. And
Yep.
the sad thing is, before they were like, no, we have to make this because it has to go out. And I mean, there's always money involved. I don't want to make it sound like there isn't, but back in my day, you wanted to put out a finished, polished product because then a lot of people would buy it and you would recoup your money. And nowadays, that's not how you make your money.
Throw it out there.
You throw it out there, you just need name recognition. Even if it's bad, people will try it, and then you put your patches out and all that other stuff, and then it's good and people like it.
And then you fix it later.
But then there's old guys like me who don't want that. So
yeah, and also games are getting a lot harder to make, so you're not able to catch all those bugs. But also, I mean, bugs, glitches, that's natural. But like having a whole game that's absolutely unplayable, that's not that ain't cool, man.
Oh, I forgot to check. There's some big sale going on PlayStation.
Oh yeah, I think everything's going on sale either because of Game Fest, like across all of any gaming platform, or Pride Month.
Either or.
Also, happy Pride Month, everybody.
Happy Pride Month. We're boring losers who don't get to. We get to celebrate it, but we don't get to. I don't want to say take part in it. I don't know. We're boring white heterosexual guys, so like, yeah.
I will say I am happy that gaming's getting more involved in the Pride thing. Yet last night I was playing some TFT, Team Fight Tactics, with my friend, and in the store you could purchase a Pride flag bundle with currency that you get for just booting up the game, and it was only one, so it's not like you actually
so it's just like free promotion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I went through all the flags, and I picked the trans flag just because right now that's a lot of stuff going on there and want to support them. But also, I'm sitting there and my friend's just used to my nonsense. I sit there and I just pull it up. I'm like, okay, where's the straight one?
Oh
And she's sitting there and she's like, no, they
no!
don't have one. I had to preface on it. I'm joking. I'm joking. Please know I'm joking. Like, I know that there's not a straight one.
Oh no!
I think if there was a straight flag, it wouldn't even be a flag. It'd be a piece of toast. Just a piece of white bread.
I do have to point out that because I am a boring old grumpy white man, we went out to breakfast one day somewhere with some friends, and I was like regular white toast with breakfast or whatever. But on the
Yeah.
receipt it came as dry white, and ever since then they have all referred to me as dry white. They're like, look at dry white eating his dry white.
Look at dry white over there.
I won't lie, I thought it was absolutely hilarious, so I'm cool with it. But
I like that even better. Dry white. It would just be a dry white. Just
a piece of toast, though. I love that. Though.
That just says dry white on it. That's what it would be. Just dry white. Dry, boring white. But yeah, it's cool to see that representation. I wish that representation support would be there a lot more instead of 1 month in a year. But I mean, it's better than nothing.
Some games,
some game studios are really good about that. Other ones,
BioWare
not
is
so
one of the
much.
few. Please tell me they're not one of the ones that are going down. But
who knows anymore?
I know it's so
honestly.
hard to be like, I believe in them, and then they turn around. It's like all of the executives have been raping their employees for 30 years, and you're like, dude. But anyway, at least in their games, they've made it. They've at least from the beginning tried. Like as far back as the original Dragon Age, you could be a guy or a girl. There was always
Yeah,
options for
that is true.
romance. You could guy or girl. Some were exclusive, which is fine. But I think they were just like they wanted equal shares in everything except elves. Elves always get the shaft in every game, no matter what game it is. We are just. It doesn't matter how good of a person you are. There is some racism in you somewhere. It doesn't even have to be to other people. Elves, you're dirty little trash. But
did you mean to say the elves get the shaft every game when we're talking about sexuality?
Oh no. I meant like they're looked down
I mean
on.
that's awesome. I don't care because it's they're looked down
However,
on.
no,
And also,
that's not fair either. Because that's another thing that they do to elves is they make them unreasonably gay in a lot of games.
They do, especially Dragon Age 2, right? There's
Yeah,
gay
a
elf.
lot of them.
Yeah.
There's one in like, and I don't mean it like obviously any species, even in the fantasy realm, would have that, but like across all genres, that's usually a thing.
Yeah.
Which, man, that's how they bring people together. Is they're just like, yo, you don't have to hate people, you can hate these elves.
Hey, I hear you got a problem with these humans look just like you, but their skin colors are different. Let me bring something over here for you really hate. Come here. Let me show you this. Elves. And the person's like, whoa!
What?
As Eric shucks
Yeah.
his mic. Whoa!
Yeah.
Just
I
it's like,
mean-
whoa! I hate that more than the thing I just hated it a minute
It's like,
ago.
hey, bro, now we're good. And then they just proceed to run over and beat up an elf. And the elf's like, dude, I was just trying to buy some bread.
Some dry white. That's all I wanted. Some dry white. Yeah, Bioware's, and especially that when Dragon Age came out, that was at a time when it wasn't as commonly,
Yes.
accepted or a common discussion that it is
Man,
today.
isn't that sad? Because that was only like 15 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of progress can be made in a few years. Just gotta.
It's regressing now. So that's why I'm gonna loop it back around to Happy Pride Month, and everybody just be kind. You know what? Even if it's not for you, doesn't matter because it's not about you. Let everyone be who they want to be and just be kind.
Mm-hmm. I'm in the mindset as long as whatever you believe in doesn't hurt somebody, do what you want.
That's why we're gonna get political for about 60 seconds. I know we don't do politics, but on the topic of Pride Month, Brandon is setting a timer.
Putting on the timer. Hold on. Let's get the timer. Seconds. All right, I gotta switch this here and put it right there. All right, 60's going. 60's going.
Oh, it's going? All right. Everybody who thinks it goes against your personal beliefs, most of your personal beliefs are leave me alone, I want to live my own life. Just apply that to everybody else. You don't need to put your beliefs out into the world. Hold them close. vote how you want to vote, but be kind. That stupid "Don't Tread on Me" flag that everybody loves. Somebody said it once, and I love it. Don't tread on me, and I won't tread on you. That's how life should go. Be happy, be kind, be loving. The world would be a better place. Also, grow a pair, you just little bitches out there who aren't for it. So, happy Pride Month.
Man, you got it done in 15 seconds. Look at you!
All right, I will avoid again. That's for my
I
other
do
podcast.
also like the trend on TikTok right now where it's like, for any, what was it, homophobic, xenophobic, transphobic, whatever kind of phobic, I wish you a very uncomfortable month. Like, I really like that bit. And once again, we try to get back on the topic of Summer Games Fest, and we just, our brains, like, I think there's other things our brains are like, I want to say this, and we pull ourselves away from
I
it.
think that was an okay thing to transition away from, though.
Oh, yeah, but
because
not the first transition.
for, like,
I wanted
this-
to talk about Callisto Protocol, and we're talking about
I was gonna say for like the
whatever we're
5 people who listen that
no, not about the pride thing. The thing before we got, because I tried to bring it back.
I don't even remember what
exactly.
that was.
See, we don't even remember what we talked about, and now we're coming back. We're like, well, the first thing I didn't like, the second thing I liked,
something
the first
about
thing I didn't
remakes
like.
and Dragon Age. I don't know. Hey,
Okay.
people hate elves.
So gay. All right, there were some cool games. There were some cool games in there.
Were there?
Callisto Protocol. They showed some gameplay, and it actually like felt dead spacey.
Well, okay, I guess I should say that one was already announced before the summer game, so that's why I was like, this is awesome, but I wanted more from them.
Well, I did send you the one of the what was the kicking one? There was a kicking one.
Kicking one.
Yeah.
I bet I saw it already, and
I sent you a bunch of trailers. I didn't put it in a video because I'm like, maybe Eric will be responsible enough.
That's not fair. This weekend was
Well, you were in your golf tournament, weren't you?
Oh my god. Yeah, I woke up at 5:30, left the house at 6:30. I didn't get home until like 3 o'clock.
Dang. That's a lot of golf.
It was full 18 holes with a lot of drinking in there.
Did you make it to the end at least? Like,
oh yeah, we finished. We didn't win, unfortunately, because I'm truly god awful. But yeah, I did okay. I had the best drive of my life there.
Hey,
that was about.
That's progress in itself. I'll take that. And what's funny about golf is the only way you can get better at golf is you have to play it. But the only way you can play it is on an actual legit course, unless you're rich and just have one in your backyard.
You can do like a driving range, but it's not the same.
You have to account for wind. You have to account for the environment. You have to account, if someone on your team is going to use their superpower. And I'm thinking Mario Golf. Never mind. We don't have those in real golf.
Man,
okay.
I want to play that. Angerfoot.
That one. That one looked pretty cool. You're just kicking everyone and shooting them in the face.
Witchfire, I've seen some things for. That's like a new Destiny-ish type game, isn't it?
No.
What one am I thinking of?
I don't know.
It's a first-person shooter.
Oh, yeah. Just because it's a first-person shooter doesn't mean it's a Destiny-like game. That's like saying,
I didn't mean Destiny. I didn't mean Destiny. I 1000% did not mean Destiny.
I was so confused because I'm like, what are you talking about? Doom? Is that what you're saying?
I think maybe Doom style, just kind of like a run-through shoot.
A Victorian-style Doom, which it is. That makes more sense, yes.
I should have said just to shoot 'em up. First person, run through and just shoot everything.
It's going to have roguelite elements where, like, when you die, you guys start over, but the areas are changed a little and you can upgrade yourself. It looks fun. It just all the games I sent you look fun. Like Dark Tide gameplay, that looks fun.
Yeah, we talked about that's Warhammer one.
Yeah, that Warhammer one. That looked good.
There was like 6 Warhammer ones. I was excited.
Dude, there's
for
a lot
of
of Warhammer just coming out.
It's really getting good. No, let's ride this wave and let's get a sequel movie.
What are you talking about? What
Damn
movie?
it. I was thinking of another one.
You're talking about Warcraft.
Guys, I've slept about 4 hours in the past 72. Please forgive me.
I was going to say, like, no, the only Warhammer movie there is like this CGI animated one from like a Japan studio. I haven't watched it. So
I was 1000% thinking Warcraft.
You were thinking Warcraft. I agree with you. Warcraft. We need a sequel to Warcraft because it ended with like, orc Moses going down the river in the basket. But
yep. I do also have to point out that after the golf tournament that I woke up for at 5:30 in the morning and then day drank and then came home, we then left at like 5 o'clock to go to the drive-in. to watch that movie.
That's right. You
So
went to
I
the
was up
drive-in.
until like 2 a.m.
Man,
So
you're a trooper. I mean, I wake up 5:30 every day. Don't you wake up 5:30 every
I
day?
wake up at 5:30 every day, but I do not day drink like that and then have to sober up to come home to pack up the vehicle to go out to the
Okay.
drive-in.
So it was just the amount of things you did in a day and the order of events. Okay.
Yes. And I am seriously going on like 2 or 3 hours of sleep. So, all right, let's get back to
The another game, the Plucky Squire. I sent you that.
Yeah, that one looked interesting.
It's very cutesy, very fun, but I think what's super cool is, it's a top-down kind of Zelda-like, but it's
Yeah.
all beautifully drawn, and then you hop out of the book and run around like a 3D world in a room. I was like, that looks so cool. That's so creative. And I'm just trying to see.
There was Aliens, Dark Descent.
That's a top-down kind of twin stick shooter, which I like twin stick shooters. But in that one, what's interesting, I thought, oh, it's multiplayer focused, 4 people. No, it's single player focused, and you're the commander and you're in charge of controlling your guys.
Okay.
And I was like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Those ones like that always give me anxiety playing though, because I'm like, I can't focus on them all.
Right? And I think it's not like a turn-based
It's
or like a
real-
tactics game.
It's like
just
a real
real
time.
time, yeah.
Yeah.
And you just gotta kind of order all your people to do stuff. Yeah, the Callisto Protocol gameplay, oh, that just looks like Dead Space. But did you see, like, I don't know if you watched the gameplay, but when you hit
I've
them,
watched several.
like limbs and chunks of flesh will come off, so it's even further than the dismembering mechanic.
It almost looked like there wasn't that much of a dismemberment mechanic. Like, not like how Dead Space, okay, you shoot them in the shoulder once and then boom, their shoulders, an arm is blown off.
Yeah.
This one, it didn't seem like it seemed possible, but it didn't seem as prevalent, which I think makes it
prevalent.
scarier.
Okay. Now I see where you're
Yeah,
going
like
with
you
this.
got to sit there and you got to like go ham to do it. Whereas the other one, it's like, I'm going to turn the plasma cut. It makes
Cutter. Yeah,
So,
turn sideways and pop off a limb.
Callisto Protocol is Dark Souls, whereas Dead Space is like Skyrim type of thing. Like this one looks, I dare I say it, a little bit more hardcore, a little bit scarier, a little bit more actiony, but real life action. If that makes any sense, like
all right, I see what you're saying. Like the one big guy just charges up to you, and even though you're shooting him, you can't stop him.
he doesn't stop,
and
and
you
he
have to
just
pull off
knocks
that
you.
like baton off your back and start slapping him with it.
Yeah, like
there are ones when you shoot off their leg, they fall over, and then they just start crawling at you even faster.
And again, it's Dead Space had that element, but this one seems like it would be. I mean, if it's a zombie or an undead or something that is driving them beyond human understanding, it's like,
I think they're called biophages.
oh,
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm excited for this one. This one looks cool because it looks like it's gonna be scary.
I did a little more research. I guess the guy who made the first Dead Space didn't work on the second one as much, or if at all, his name was kind of slapped on it. And it was kind of interesting just to look into that, just because.
Well, you
so
saw
I think
that
we're going to get another Dead Space 1, right? If this guy's in charge, he's going to keep it very traditional like that.
Oh,
like the first
well,
one.
we're also getting our Dead Space remake on the topic
Speaking of remake, exactly. A whole remake in that. Like we talked last week, that doesn't look bad at all.
EA, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I'd rather just be like Dead Space, either tell another story in that universe somewhere else.
Compete with Callisto. Just Dead Space 4.
Even better, Callisto is releasing like 2 months before the Dead Space remake.
So Dead Space remake is probably gonna it's probably not gonna recoup that much money then.
That's what you would think, but
I guess the younger generation, if they advertise it right, they're flooding the market with remakes, which fine, cool, but don't make it your focus.
Well, here's the thing: the movie industry went through it, right? Flooded the market with remakes, and now we don't see a lot of them anymore.
Still kind of.
You still see them, but not as much. I definitely distinctly remember there was a time when it was just remake after remake after remake of like older movies.
But they did it in a way I think that was a little bit smarter than the video game industry, because a lot of the movies that I watched, I didn't even know it was a remake of a movie.
Oh.
They marketed it to like a new generation. Never referenced the old one. Like it was, and I think they waited long enough that there was a big enough generational gap Whereas video games, it's like, okay, it's been 10 years, we're going to do a remake. It's like, no, it's not old enough to warrant this.
All right, so let's Last of Us Part 1 is getting a remake. The first one is getting a remake, and that is not even 10 years old.
Yeah, that game sucked anyways. Unpopular opinion, but that game sucked.
Supposedly, it's going to have brand new gameplay mechanics, brand new AI, brand new graphics.
But that doesn't change the fact that the original one still sucked, and then this one is just going to be a prettier version of a crap game. Don't get me wrong, I thought the story was cool, but it was boring.
The play was boring.
It was 3 sections per level of
Yes.
sneak past zombies. That's not fun.
And then shoot people occasionally. I didn't like the gameplay of it. Like you said, story's good, but that was announced there. Yeah, now that we put it out there, those are the games that I was just kind of excited.
Was there anything about there was a new Diablo announced, wasn't there?
I mean, a while ago there was like Diablo 4. Is it Diablo 4?
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought it was at summer. I
Well,
looked up.
all right. So there's Diablo Immortals. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, that's the one I'm talking about.
That's the one. It's pay to win. Someone did the math to buy everything and level up your character completely. It costs like over $10,000. There goes your Blizzard. But everyone's flipping out about it. So I feel like it's either going to crash and burn, or
I used to love Blizzard. They used to make the best games.
And now they're evil. They've gone to the dark side.
You know, guy,
Speaking of dark side, you watch Kenobi yet?
no.
Oh, you ding dang dingus.
We.
Actually, I'm jealous of you because then you can just binge it all instead of me. Who
I won't lie. That's kind of why I hold
week
off
to
on a lot of
week.
TV shows now. Is everybody's like, how can you not watch it? I'm like, because I guarantee you, in 2 or 3 weeks, when there's a bunch of episodes out, at least 2 weeks out of every month, I kind of want to go jump off of a bridge at the end of the week. So
you're gonna stockpile episodes and be like,
I'm gonna stockpile episodes, and even though we're trying super hard and we're doing well on our health kit, like we're getting there. This weekend we did poorly, but again,
I can
golf
tell by the
tournament.
boxes that you were gonna sneak out the front door, and I'm standing there like, what are those?
Yeah, they were Little Caesars boxes, and those are like 4 days old. We also got Primani Brothers for lunch today.
Oh, there you go. That would do it. They got good sandwiches though. Their sandwiches are so
They were
good.
so amazing. But
I love when they put the egg on the sandwich.
I didn't get one with egg, but it had a coleslaw on it. But it was like a vinegar-based coleslaw. It was good.
Yeah, especially vinegar-based anything on a sandwich like that. It kind of it's like the opposite to like the sweetness of the meats that you have.
Yeah,
and like the good
yeah.
and then that vinegar.
So good. It had fries. It was like this beefed up. I almost said Cuban, not Cuban. The corned beef one.
Reuben.
Yes, thank you, Reuben. Cuban, Reuben. They almost rhyme.
Reuben.
Anyway,
they do rhyme. I mean, they technically rhyme.
But yeah, anyway, stockpile episodes, and then I'm just gonna be like, hey, instead of killing ourselves, why don't we get a bunch of alcohol and just binge watch the show all day? And my wife will be like, all right, let's do it. So that's why
what you're waiting.
That's how we were able to get married and stay married, like stay newlyweds through the pandemic.
Oh, that is right. That is right.
Yeah, we got married, and 3 months later, once in 100-year pandemic quarantine hit. So.
And you're like, oh, of course. And if you made it through that, because a lot of people did not. A lot of people were just like, I'm never speaking to you again. Here are the papers.
Took the spark out of the honeymoon phase real fast. Nothing for us, but just like, oh, now I'm trapped in this house with you.
I have to look at you every day.
Well, it was like, we're going to go do all this fun stuff. And then I know it's like, do you think so? Welcome to the Calypso Protocol, guys.
I'm giving you a chance at rebirth.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there stuck in your house.
How much do you really love each other? I'm giving you the gift of finding out. It's like, no!
Oh, that last part gives me goosebumps. And you're just sitting like in your room, just like rocking back and forth, fetal positions. I'm glad we already petered out on the Games Fest. It just, a lot of stuff wasn't brand new, and the stuff that was shown, it was fine. It was
Well, that was when you sent all those trailers. I'm like, I've actually seen a lot of these trailers already. Like, I know of them.
That's weird for you to be able to see those trailers.
Well, and there were a few I hadn't, like that Anglerfoot one I hadn't heard about, but then I looked up a synopsis of like what was announced at Summer Game Fest, and I wasn't wowed. I didn't see that much, which I'm old. I'm an old dry white, so there could have been games in there that other people were freaking out about, but it was a lot of stuff that had already been announced or remakes, which
Once again,
everyone's like
more
Resident Evil
remakes.
4. I'm like, yeah, we've been over this, but I was really hoping for something new, some surprise, at least an update on another game like the one that's supposed to be the competitor to Skyrim by Obsidian.
Oh yeah, that one. I remember last time we
Ah,
talked about that, which
that was months ago.
yeah, so many
And
episodes ago. I checked up. I did research on it the night after we talked about it, and they're like, "Yo, this game's like 5, 6 years out. Good luck. We'll see you on the other side."
there's no way it can take that long to do these games. I'm sorry. It's for a big studio like that, where it's been 10 and a half years since Skyrim came out, and they're like, yeah, it's still a ways away because they're like, we're focusing on Starfield.
Well, that's Bethesda.
That is Bethesda, but it's all of these it's Bethesda doesn't do Fable, do they?
No, that's Lionhead Studios, but they got defunct, so it's just Microsoft does Fable.
Well, Fable, there is a company doing another Fable.
yeah.
I think it is Bethesda, or at least ZeniMax, their parent company, got it.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because they're like, they're releasing Starfield, then they're at least going to release the Fable 4, or I don't know if it's a remake or whatever the hell that whole thing is, but then they're going to release that. Then I think they're going to focus on Elder Scrolls, and it's so we're probably another 10 years from the next Elder Scrolls. So Todd Howard, I do want you to know, cancer runs in my family, so I'll be given a death sentence at some point in the next probably 10 to 15 years. So if Elder Scrolls 6 isn't out by the time that I get that death sentence, that's your death sentence. Just saying. But
you ever watch Archer?
I love that show.
All right, do you remember when he got breast cancer? And it was like rampage. That's what I imagine you do. Just stroll up to, Todd Howard's house, and at first, like, I feel great on these gummies, and they're not even actually.
He's like, they're like, why are you doing your chemo now? He's like, why do you think I'm on cancer? I need this treatment. And they're like, you've had no hair loss. You're blah, blah. And he checks it, and he's like, I think it's Zima.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then at the end, he goes on rampage, and he's looking just terrible. And
Because he started his chemo, and the middle.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we don't think you should do that. He's like, why? They're like, the treatments you've had before weren't real, remember? And yeah, he's just thrown up in the toilet.
Yeah. That's the rampage you're gonna go on.
That's exactly double barrel shotgun with the scarf, everything. I'm gonna do that if I don't get Elder Scrolls 6. But anyways,
Elder Scrolls 6. Yeah, they're.
I'm actually I know we're derailing. Last part of it. I almost hope it never comes out because I know that they've pushed it off for so long. And like, I love Skyrim. Skyrim was amazing. It's gone through all these iterations. It's great. I do love it. But I don't think there's any form or version of game with Todd Howard at the helm that they will make and release that will make it worth the wait. I just don't believe it. I think this next one will be the death of that series until somebody else comes in and revamps it. And by that time, I'm going to be like in my 60s, and it just won't matter.
Yeah. It's not
if I'm
matter
not
at
dead
that point.
already.
Yeah, it's not going to matter at that point.
So I'm weirdly like I want it, but I'm also like I know it'll be the death scream of the series. So,
but I mean, you gotta wait and see too. I mean, I don't like.
I don't. It's Todd Howard.
You've accepted Todd Howard. No, this is
Well, like it's Starfield. I'm hoping Starfield's great, but to be honest, I don't have high hopes for that either.
Yeah, they already delayed it and all that stuff after another delay, and
because they're gonna try to make Skyrim in space, and then I think they should do something else because like they already have Fallout. Fallout and Skyrim are the same things. It's just one's guns, one's swords, which is cool. I love that concept. I love them both. I think that I don't know what I'm trying to say. I've lost a lot of faith.
You've lost all hope in that Skyrim.
Yeah.
Whatever Elder Scroll, whatever game. And I think at the end of the day, I think we're just all disappointed. But like I said, Nintendo ruined us with those presentations and things like that.
Awesome. Nintendo is like one of the last corporations where I feel like they actually still care about like fun quality. Like they're not afraid to try something new, and even if it fails, they're like, cool, we can still learn from this failure.
Well,
Like
the Wii U, that
the
is
Wii
a
U,
perfect example of that
I was
statement.
even just thinking like Mario Party. Like they came out with that one Mario Party. I don't know about you, but personally, I didn't like it. I thought the maps were too small. There
Oh,
wasn't enough
the Super
content.
Mario Party, right?
Yeah.
And then they came back around and
Yeah,
did
and they're
the
like, okay,
newer
guys,
Mario
we
Party.
hear you. We're gonna just. They did a remake style, but they're like, but this is how we can get it out fast enough for you guys to like have this and enjoy. Like
Yeah.
they respond to the audience the way you should. They don't let the audience dictate what they do, but they listen to the feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas everybody else, they don't care.
And
They
also,
just want money so they can go and be creeps and pedophiles and rapists. Yes, I'm talking to all of you executives. I have never ever in my life understood like why people hate corporatization and greed so much until we started seeing all these video games come out.
yeah.
I've never had to grow up as much in my life.
In the past, like week and a not week and a half, like year and a
Yeah,
half. That's
it's sad.
because
It
now
really
it's just the
is.
industry's booming. Nintendo, when the Wii U was doing poorly, you know what the head person did? Instead of still collecting their bonuses, instead of still, getting all their,
All the
making
perks
all the
of
money and
yeah.
perks, he decided he cut his salary in half just so the company could stay,
Buoyant.
in a good space and also everyone be paid appropriately.
And do you know what the funny thing about that is? He still was probably getting paid millions of
Oh yeah,
dollars, if not tens of
yeah,
millions of dollars.
yeah.
Which, if you're the head of a giant company, I understand you're gonna make money, but like, that's what you do. You're like, oh, okay, instead of making 50 million this year, I'll make 25, and my company can still stay afloat, and I
Yeah.
will reinvest this money.
And then a lot of the stuff they learned from the Wii U and the Wii before it, they like put those both together into the Switch, and the Switch has already outsold the Wii, and the Wii was a console that outsold everything, every console that came before it. And I'm not
Man,
talking just Nintendo, I'm talking any console ever.
that's because the Switch is amazing and I absolutely love it.
Yes.
But I forgot to bring it up months ago. The Switch, I read an article about that. The Switch had like outsold all other consoles in it was like multiple countries.
Yeah.
Or yeah, it was huge. And I'm like, you know what? Good. It deserves it.
It does.
Also, we can get back to Summer Game Fest, but on the topic of
No, I'm
games,
pretty much done on Summer Game Fest because at the end
okay,
of the
it
day,
was underwhelming.
we just threw some things out we liked, and that was it. There wasn't anything else. All right, what were you saying? What were you saying?
Knights of the Old Republic, how I still haven't started it on the Switch yet,
Oh yeah, the
but I
second one
have
came
it.
out.
Yeah, they're gonna release it on the Switch, or did it already come
It
out?
already came out. It was like a
Damn
shadow.
it!
It was a shadow drop, I guess.
But that's what you should do.
I just saw a trailer, and then it was like out now. I'm like, oh, that's neat.
Like a week before you drop something, that's when you should put your ads out there. A, you can save a bunch of money on advertising, and B, if it's a good product, people will hear about it and they'll want it.
You can
So,
build that hype.
this isn't like back in the
immediately.
day where you have to do it for months in advance to let everybody know.
Yeah.
Just spend that money in like a week beforehand. It'll make its way out into the internet verse, and everybody
I
will
was going to
know.
say is like if you just go to like some streamers, some people who just make videos on the internet, and like, hey, here's our game, just go play it, let people know
Yep.
about it. I think that could reach a lot more people, and that's just kind of the way the culture of gaming is kind of like half the games I only find out through someone else or through a stream or through just a
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
word of mouth, I guess it would be the right statement. Yeah, a lot of
Man, there was another. Oh, PS Plus monthly games. I got that God of War for free. So
no,
after God of War 3, I think it was the one after that.
yeah, just God of War for
Yeah.
PlayStation 4. Yeah, because there was no other God of War on PlayStation 4. I'm thinking.
Is there one on PS5? I thought there have been 2 released. I thought there was 5 total now. Because there's the original
No, because
3.
original 3, and then there was Ascension that was also on PS3. I think it was Ascension, but also there's like other PSP titles.
Yeah, I don't count any of those.
And then
I was thinking
it was just
the
God of War,
main-
and then Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok is coming out at some point.
Oh, I
Sometime.
thought that one was already out. Maybe that's
No.
what I'm thinking of.
No, it got delayed because the actor Christopher Judge, I think his name was.
The dude who voices Kratos?
Yeah, the guy who voices Kratos. had surgery, and the guy was like, "Well, we're not continuing without this guy's voice." The head guy,
I don't think you can
yeah.
continue
So they
without
were
his
just like,
voice.
we'll just wait for him, and we'll just delay the game.
You can still develop all the stuff. You just have to wait for him to do the voice acting.
Exactly. Yeah, and that was the reason it came out after all there was a lot of drama and stuff, and and the guy came out and was like, they delayed it because of me. Sorry, dudes.
Like
My bad.
my bad that I had to put my health first
Right?
and that they were cool enough to wait for me.
All right. Speaking of, to like a random releases, Twitter things, whatever. Norman Reedus like pretty much spoiled the fact that there's going to be a Death Stranding 2 just in an interview, and because there
I
were
find that hilarious, but at the same time, I just don't care because wasn't the first one just a delivery game?
it is,
I
but
never played it,
over
but
time, at first I was like, I love everything about it, but I don't love the gameplay. And then I kind of got it on sale a while back, and I've been like slowly picking away at it, and I'm like, nah, this is like it's like one of those high art films that people aren't gonna understand, but like if you really get it, you really get it. Doing the mundane is kind of, all right, you're just delivering stuff,
so I can understand and respect that
but it might
whoever
not be
made
for
it.
you.
Well, I was gonna say I can understand that they had that vision, but 99% of the people on this planet live the mundane every day. It's just
Oh,
called
yeah.
life. So
Oh,
if
yeah.
and that's why for me, I am a low intelligence moron who wants something that's more stimulating than that. I want that fun, colorful action or horror or
Right.
whatever.
Oh, yeah,
Like
exactly.
I don't want to say I won't appreciate it, but I'm not going to drop a lot of money to buy something like that. Or if I did, I would be pissed.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I respect Hideo Kojima for making it because he knew it wasn't for everybody. It was a game he wanted to make. And that's what I respect. He's like, it's probably not going to do great in
Did he
all the
say like
markets.
I guess it wouldn't be good business wise. They probably wouldn't let him say that, but like, hey guys, you probably won't like it, but I just really wanted to do this.
The thing is, I don't know because it did sell well enough. Sony pretty much just wrote him a check and handed it to him and be like, all right, whatever you need, put on that. Because they got him from Konami when that falling out happened. And he makes really good games. All my favorite games that have really stuck with me narratively have all been done by him. Like all the Metal Gear Solid games.
I never played those either. But again, I never had a PlayStation growing up, so I never got to experience a lot of
Right.
that side of gaming.
You never got into that side of gaming. Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break because I have a subject we want to get onto, and there's no real good way to segue into it.
I'd find a way.
No. Hey, gamer. I'm just taking a second to check in on you. You see, the last time your mom and I were hanging out, she may have subtly dropped the hint that you're not really sure how to support the podcast. And honestly, when I walked out of her room only wearing a bath towel and we locked eyes, I could see it on your face. There's quite a few ways you can support the podcast. You can find us on Twitter at sure_podcast, over on Instagram, it sure is a podcast, YouTube, and TikTok. It sure is a podcast. That's all you got to look up. And then TikTok is for you Zoomers out there because I post some real stupid shit there. For Eric and I, you listening is probably just one of the best things in the world. But if you do want to support us, those are ways you can. Also, just tell a friend that, hey, we listened to a terrible podcast. You should hop in on this. Also, if you want to support us monetarily, whatever one that makes you give us money, you can go on over to www.buymeacoffee.com/ISIA podcast. There you can drop us a few bucks and be on your way. But like I said earlier, just you guys listening is really enough for us. So, all right, I was thinking about this, and I don't know why I was thinking about this. Is there a game out there that, okay, in a lot of TV shows, you got Firefly, Cowboy Bebop, right, where you play as like a bounty hunter on a ship with a crew, and you're literally living paycheck to paycheck like they are every single episode, every single story or arc. Is there any video game like that? Is there anything you can think of? Because I am at a loss.
Not that mimics that completely. There's a lot of games that come close. Like I feel like No Man's Sky, because you have to mine your own fuel and all
Right, but I'm
that.
talking about the
Um,
interaction being bounty hunters and
oh,
not
the
having
specific
money.
bounty hunter low.
You know what I mean? Because that
With space travel, or are you just focusing on like the bounty hunter and your poor aspect?
are you focusing on the you're poor part? No, no, no. Like I would prefer it to be in space because that's a trope in any kind of sci-fi. If it's a ship and a crew, they're always broke. They're always poor. They always have to take a job just to pay the gas bill. But there's no games that really do that
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. No.
because I mean, you have spaceships, you have crews, but you're always
I was
financially
gonna,
fine and you never have to worry about that
I was gonna say you
aspect.
always start out slow, but once you get into it, yeah, you start accumulating that money, and it goes from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's plenty of space flight, but there's not really crews in a lot of the ones that I'm thinking about.
What if all right, I'm throwing this idea out there and if it floats out there and gets to the right people, this one's for free. What if we have that setup, but it's a ragtag crew in the universe of Mass Effect?
I am not gonna lie. I am truly surprised they haven't gone that route already.
Like
Like
I
when they
understand they
did
have the
and
crew stuff, but you never get to pick what you're gonna go do because you always have to go save the galaxy.
I can't believe they didn't do a more free roam focus on like you actually flying the ship, maybe some space battle type stuff, or like Mass Effect RPG basically, like not RPG, that's the dumbest thing I've ever said. Free roam RPG.
So you're saying more open, almost open in the way of
Like you know how every world there's different worlds in every Mass Effect you can go to and you can land on
yeah, yeah, yeah.
consistently. Do that, but instead of those little areas, it's just a giant map that you can wander around, do your side missions, do all that. But then you can get into your spaceship and you actually
Pilot it out
fly
and fly it
between the
out.
planets, or
I think they could get away with that if they were to like only in a system only 4 to 5 planets, right? And when you get there, it's just one big open world map, kind of
yeah, yeah.
like Witcher 3, because technically for all those, every area is like an open world massive map. All three of the different places you can go to, like
Yes.
Skellige, you know, um,
The mainland was almost
the
its
mainland,
own,
and then uh
the starting
so
area.
Tuscany, however you say
Oh,
that.
the
The
blood and
Blood and Wine,
wine.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Like just land there and have stuff to do. The aspect that I like is like being broke all the time and you're like, I need to pay for this gas tank, so I'm gonna take this stupid job that I don't want to
But
do.
that's what I'm thinking is like, and yeah, you could still recruit your crew, but maybe you could only have like, say, I don't know, 4 spots or something like that. But there's maybe 7 or 8 people you could recruit.
Right.
So like, do you like this person? Do you not like this person? Like me, I could have dropped Caden Alenko in the first Mass Effect, and I did at like the first chance I got. Um, but I think like an aspect like that, like you actually pick your crew. It's not just okay. There's 6 people, go find them and recruit them. It's like no. Here's 12 people. You only got space for 6. Who do you want? How does that affect your game? Maybe something like that. Maybe the personal interactions
One
between
of the
them.
crewmates has to be a corrupt politician who's also a Volus.
Oh, obviously. I mean, I
And
have
he has to
always
have a lot
wanted
of
him.
redeeming qualities, but like
Like he's super corrupt, but he does it to do like good philanthropic things.
right. But also he does have that streak of like I'm doing stuff just for me. But like the reason
Oh
you'd
yeah,
have
yeah.
him in your parties, he could grease the palms of the right people, he could get you in contact, or he's on the run because of something he's done and he joins your crew. You know what I mean? Wouldn't that be a lot more narratively interesting than just, oh, we have to save the
Well,
galaxy? I'm the type of guy, I love this. Mass Effect
but
2 is
that's
my favorite because it's just you getting the boys together.
I I think Mass Effect 3 might have taken over as my favorite. I really enjoyed that one for some
Oh yeah, and
reason.
it's still great.
Um
It's just my personal favorite is 2 because it's just you getting the gang together.
but and I think that's why it held a special place in a lot of people's hearts, is because it was so focused on smaller scale. yeah, you were still like saving humanity, but it was on such a smaller scale of like we're not part of the military anymore. We're on our own, and it was getting the boys together, building that crew, but specifically like, all right, I got to prove that I'm worth it, and I need your help. And I don't know. I agree. I think
It would be
it'd be so
very
much cool to
cool.
explore the corners of the Mass Effect universe instead of this overall world or galaxy ending battle.
Yeah, and it's just a small pocket. Like you just have like the whatever planet Afterlife's on, and like maybe a whole game based there where it's just you're in the seedy underground city. Because I think what everyone forgets is this is a world, this is a planet, this is a whole
And you
place.
saw like point oh 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 into infinity 1%
Oh
of
yeah,
like of this whole thing. Yeah, I think that would be awesome. The Citadel alone.
we need to have a female Turian, a female Turian on there like in Andromeda.
Yeah. Yep.
I loved romancing her. I'm like, you're telling me I can romance a giant bug lady? I'm gonna romance a giant bug lady.
I can't remember who it was. Her. Uh,
PB.
I think I did PB.
Everyone does PB. It's sorry. Everyone goes first. Sorry.
Dude,
First.
it's the tentacles on the
It's
head,
the
man.
tentacles on the head, and they don't even do it. They're just there.
I know. They just fascinate me.
The tentacles fascinate me.
They
I
really
wonder.
do.
I wonder what they do.
What that tentacle do? Um.
Yeah,
Oh,
or the
bad
Turian
joke.
could be
Bad joke.
your doctor, like because every crew in every show you have the doc, you have the other mercenary, you have the
Yeah, but I think like okay, so you have when you're building your crew, you would need your medical officer, you would need your pilot, you would need your muscle, you would need your mechanic. And so like you're building it, but like okay, I need this. They're like, "Okay, go find Sven. He's a great mechanic." So you go there, you meet Sven, but like maybe you don't really like him, and then all of a sudden narratively in the story, there's like two other cool options for your mechanic. So like
I was just
who are you going to recruit out of these three? And they all bring their own flavor to it.
I was just
And
thinking, okay, what if you had to have a pilot, you had to have a mechanic, a doctor, the muscle, and then some other thing. But every single one, they were like three like fully fleshed out
well,
characters.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So you could build your own crew based off of that, still have the narrative component, but also like have the money system in the game is like whenever you do a mission, you look at that of how much you're gonna get, and like if you don't catch them alive or if you goof up a little bit, you'll get a decreased amount,
Yes.
and you're just like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pay space rent this month.
And yeah, throw a mechanic in there for like if you go down to zero, you got to do something super like hard or tedious to like make it out again. And
Yeah, it would be a
I don't, I
very
just,
dynamic mission. So what if I think like if this was to actually happen, it'd have to be some kind of more simulator thing and not necessarily just a single holiday corridor roller coaster shooter, if that
and
makes
I would be
sense.
fine with, I would still like there to be the fun fighting aspect, but
Oh
like
yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
saying, it could be almost. I would even be okay if it was almost like somewhat like the Resident Evils, like 4, 5, and 6, where that was. It was. I don't want to say weird. Like it was a weird kind of shooter. Like it was more like the movement aspect
Oh,
of
so you're
it.
saying a little more, it's slower of a shooter, a little
Yeah,
more
yeah. Like so, it's still fun. It's still go there. It's still engaging. You get to
right.
upgrade your equipment. You get to fight and have that fun. But like you're saying, it's not. You're not some superhero who can run through and kill a hundred
You're
thousand
you're just a
people.
bunch of bounty hunters trying to make your way through.
Yeah.
Actually, to have that be able to craft your own stories and your own experiences, there would be a narrative and it would be a revenge plot just because that's the easiest one to do in this kind of setup. You get a crew unless there's another kind of
I'm
story
trying to
genre that
think
you can.
of. I think it would just be cool if like you were bounty hunters and you did the old school trope of you took a job that was supposed to be a simple job because you needed the money and you stumble into maybe like this bigger conspiracy and you're like, "Oh, I
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
get
yeah.
out of this," but like to pull off this impossible job, like
You got to
maybe
get the
you
crew
screw a
together.
job up and they're like, "Okay, transport this prisoner." It's not a prisoner, it's a hostage and some crime boss wants him and you screw it up and they get free and now he's like you got like find this person or I'm gonna kill you. And
All
you're
right,
like, I gotta get a crew together to find this person or I'm dead.
all right, that's the other way you could do it because I was thinking just a revenge plot, but just have that like even almost roguelike elements where you would reach checkpoints in the story. It wouldn't send you too far back, but like if you ran out of like, you know, ran out of fuel in space and you're just like, I hope someone shows up or we're all dead. We're all gonna die because we're gonna lose power to
Maybe just
everything.
like have those like random. This is a slippery slope, but you could have like the random, like you make very low money, but they're constant jobs you could do.
Oh
So
yeah, there
like,
are constant
okay, you're
jobs.
grounded on this planet until you do enough of these constant boring jobs to get the money to buy your fuel to get out of there. And
Exactly.
so
Like
you're just
one
like,
would be like, hey, you're just transporting this livestock across planet, and they just need some
here's a speeder
guns.
bike. Figure out how to deliver these packages. And you're like, son of a, I don't want to be
And
a
that,
delivery
and that
boy.
almost goes down like MMO territory, but you can definitely do that without having all the other people. Just it would just it's and I think it's how do I put it? Everyone has ideals like this, but it's actually finding ways for them to work.
What's the magical combination of putting them together that
Exactly.
but I just there's such a unique story of Mass Effect to tell. You don't need
All about the Reapers, all about
well, even
the
now they're like,
other
we're gonna do
things.
after all of these events. It's like, hold off until you guys have a good idea about that. Come out with a standalone game of like you're saying, you're a street punk on Omega. You're working for a politician on the Citadel. There's like so many different things you could
Oh,
do.
oh, include the origin system from Dragon Age Origins, where your background, like that Volus politician, you were kind of like his underling or like
Yeah.
intern almost, and like all these kind of push you into that conspiracy that occurs. And you
May
know what I mean? Being a slum dog, being a, like even
yeah.
Cyberpunk did this, where there was your origin story. Um,
I just there's so much to explore there. I don't know how we got stuck on Mass Effect alone. I guess
Well,
that was just because that was the
I brought it
example.
up because you've just been talking a lot about Mass Effect. I was sitting there thinking, would it be cool just like you pilot your own ship with your own crew,
I
go on
still
your
want
own
to get my copy of
adventures?
No Man's Sky back, but I haven't seen my brother yet to get it back.
You gotta steal that back.
I
And
know.
like it would still be narrative, like there'd be a narrative thread, but there would be
Well, and it's
situations where you would create your own story.
yeah, I almost said EA. BioWare has always been really good at the story behind it, and they've evolved their gameplay, I think, to match their level of storytelling. But um,
Even games that floundered and fell that were BioWare, they
they still
still had
had
very interesting and fascinating
wasn't
stories.
just because we had mentioned earlier, wasn't Knights of the Old Republic? Isn't that BioWare?
The first one was. The second one was done by Obsidian. So, but the
Hmm.
first one was very good. Second one is also good. They kind of BioWare and Obsidian. They kind of both. They hold pretty high like storytelling standards in
I
my
just yeah,
book.
but that's why they've created this universe, and you had your big fun overall save the galaxy. Now maybe dive down a little bit. That's why I thought like again, I know everybody hated it, but Dragon Age 2, they focused on a smaller area. It wasn't such an end of the world
Cornwall,
scenario.
right?
Wow, I'm a bad fan.
Was it Cornwall?
No. Wasn't
It's
Cornwall.
not Cornwall. You sure it's
It
not
was in the free
Cornwall?
marches.
All right.
Um
I'm looking it up right now. Dragon Age
wow, I can't believe I
2
forgot.
location. Let me see. Dragon Age 2
Uh
locations. Bone Pit.
it takes place in the city of
Is it at Cornwall?
no, I can't guys.
Set in the world of Thetis.
Yeah, that's the world war.
Kirkwall.
Kirkwall.
I was close.
You
There
were
was a
darn
K and an
close.
R in there. I just added an O and an N.
Yeah, you were very close.
I'm calling it Cornwall. I don't care
I'm
what you
fine with
tell
calling
me.
it Cornwall. But they focused on him and his rise of to power and like his family and his friends and but look at what they did. It wasn't quite the bounty hunter style narrative, but I thought that was cool. Like
Smaller stories can sometimes leave a bigger impact.
well, and it's a great way to if you don't know what you're doing, say you have that general idea of where you want to go, you can do that smaller story to set up the bigger one.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, Dragon Age 2 sucked. It's like, no, it gave them the foundation for the third one, and they made a
Which was
whole
about
game
the
about it.
mages and
Yep.
everyone else fighting
It
each
yep.
other.
And
Yeah,
it and
yeah.
then I mean, that was even just the beginning of the game, and then it rolled on into an even bigger storyline in the third one.
Right, right.
But it was Somebody out there just make the game we just talked about. I
Yeah,
guess that at the end of
someone
the
just
day,
sit down.
that's what.
That's where the indie people come in. The indie devs were like, I have this idea, and no one else will do it because it's stupid. So I'm gonna do it because it's a bad idea. And
But I
sometimes they
think this is a
succeed,
good.
sometimes they
You
fail.
know what? Just for shits and giggles and to get things started, make a Firefly video game.
That
Make a Cowboy Bebop video
honestly,
game.
all right. I'm glad you picked that up because Firefly, I love that show, and I was just like, I just want a Firefly game where it's just a
It was
ragtag.
awesome. That show was he literally, like you were saying, just dude, we need fuel. Like our engine's going. We need to make enough money for a freaking oil change.
And I think that level of mundane, that level of very relatable stuff is something that I think could actually be very engaging and very um I
Well,
guess it would just have people attached to the characters more. It's like, dude, they're not just going on adventure. They have to go deliver all these packages to this stupid little town because they don't have enough money to fill up their gas tank.
yeah, and granted have been fairly blessed through all of this stuff. I by no means am I rich, but like I still got to get up and I got to work my butt off every day. Most days I don't leave on time anyways, and
Yeah.
for what? I'm not driving a friggin' BMW or anything. I also am working my butt off just to fill the gas tank. And so imagine, I don't know, I think like you're saying those games would reach a lot of people, but not like Death Stranding where it's boring, but like, I'm sorry, I haven't even played Death Stranding. If you guys like it, cool. I just had to throw my little jabs out there.
It's like being an Amazon package delivery person, but it's like
in the zombie apocalypse.
not even zombie. It's more like supernatural, dead monster, eldritch creatures trying to kill you. So it's like, man,
Is there any fighting in that game, or is it
there is some, but it's more narrative. It's more you planning out routes on, how am I going to get here? What's the safest way? Oh, I put a ladder here the other day, so I'm going to go climb up that ladder so I don't have to use resources.
Okay.
It's not just delivering. There's a little more like
Well,
stealthy.
it sounds more
and,
like a survival game.
yeah, yeah. Oh, and the
Okay.
whole reason I brought it up was because he let it go that there's a second one in development, and instead of Hideo Kojima flipping out, he's just like, yeah, we're making another one. Like, that's
It's like,
it.
yeah, he screwed up, but
Yeah,
we're making it.
we're making another one. I don't know. I think just the smaller story of the ragtag crew going around in space, I think that'd be cool. I think that'd be really cool. I'd really enjoy it, I think.
You know what would be a really cool one? So I have two that I think could be
Okay,
cool.
two. Hit me with
Three,
two.
I lied.
Three.
They all focus on Garrus.
Okay.
One, you could do a story about Garrus and his time in the military because he served in the Turian military.
Okay.
So you can get that aspect of, now granted it would probably be more focused on like the Turian lifestyle and stuff. Might be hard to make like a diverse crew in there, but
right.
maybe something like that, or his time at CSEC because he was a CSEC officer.
Right.
So
now that would be cool. LA Noir.
Yeah, just
in space.
like you got to work your contacts. You got to figure out like almost more of like a smaller scale. You're trying to patrol your ward and like just stopping crime. But like Garrus is always kind of like, I'm okay to bend the rules. So do you want to be a good cop or do you want to be a bad cop type? And then
That'd
you
be
could make
cool.
your contacts, quote unquote, your crew on the street, or, and this one I thought would be cool. You're a little bit limited since it's already fleshed out a little bit, but his time when he was on Omega with his crew before Commander Shepard comes back.
Well, you know what? Let's just combine all these ideas and just Adventures of Garrus.
I thought that would be like a great one. It's a whole other, and the stories are already there. They're already written for you, basically.
You just have to, add a little flair. All right, let's like in between the big releases, let's get the
Garrus episode 1.
Garrus episode 1, Garrus episode 2. Yeah, exactly.
I thought that would be cool.
Yeah, they always have such a knack for making worlds, which is very inspiring for me on my end. Like,
it's so hard to make this universe, and if people love it, and if you don't want to ruin it, don't create the new universe. Don't jump 600 years in the future after those events. Just revisit some cool stories from the past. I think a lot of people would be cool with that as long as it's a new angle. If you want to reference Commander Shepard, maybe you meet him on your travels somewhere. Something like a cameo appearance, that's cool, but like, you're on your own now.
Yeah, and
Our I another one. I'm sorry. Guys, these are just somebody freaking make it. You're attacked on Eden Prime. You're a
uh-huh.
little colony kid who watches his parents get slaughtered by the Geth. Commander Shepard inspired you. So then you grew up or joined, I don't know, something where then all of a sudden now you're a ragtag bounty hunter.
Yes,
Because you're like,
yes.
the military failed me, but I watched at least one hero come in and save the day. So
Yeah.
now I'm going guns blazing. Revenge story. It's a
There
dad who
there's
watched his family get killed.
Oh, see, it's in these worlds that you can tell so many different stories, and I think a lot of uh, uh, how do I put this? Because this isn't just video games. This is video games. This is movies. This is books that everyone really focuses on a big picture, like the big picture, and never tell a side story. And
Look,
I think some of the best Star Wars films, like we said before, were the side stories. Rogue
John
One.
John Favreau, the guy who is big in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he plays one of the characters in them, but he's the
Okay.
one who directs, and he's a big shot now and doing all this.
Okay.
He's doing what we're saying right now. He's picking all of these smaller stories and he's making shows out of them. Boba Fett, The Mandalorian, all of these side
Oh,
stories, he's creating them and bringing them to life, and people are losing their minds. They love it. You know why? Because it's not about Jedi and Sith. That's a 50-year-old story and nobody cares anymore. It was awesome when it happened. He references it, he brings it in and like
right,
ties that
right.
into the story, but they're not the focus. Uh those side movies that we saw, they weren't the focus, and that's why it's so good. It's
Because you get to see a lot more of the stuff that a lot of people want to see, the space battles, the
in the
ragtag crew,
yeah,
pew pew pew.
and it's already the universe is already built. You're not even like world building. You're just creating new stories in that time frame.
I think they should go that Warhammer route. That all the Warhammer games, you only get a few good ones, and the rest are crap. However, all of them, like across the board, they don't retcon anything, and they don't do anything that would like change the canon of the game, right? What I mean, yeah, of the game, of the board game, of the books, and there's so many authors who write Warhammer stories, but none of it is ever retcon because there's like this Bible. It's like, all right, write whatever story you want, just don't break those rules. Why don't Why don't like how do I'm trying to find the right words to say. Why don't studios do that where it's like BioWare? It's like, hey, a small indie dev studio, you want to make a Mass Effect story? Here you go, push it. It's like this is the lore
Make
Bible.
whatever you
Don't
want.
retcon anything.
Here's
Go
yeah,
have
here's
fun.
the history of the timeline. Pick where you want it and just follow the like that'd be a great idea.
Because I know that okay, so League of Legends at Studio Riot Games is starting to do that, and it's a new common trend I'm starting to notice because Warhammer's doing it too, where they will hand it off to smaller developers for the League of Legends, right? Arcane, all that kind of stuff. Um, there's a bunch of games that came out recently, and all of them were under the like Riot Indies banner. I forget what they technically call it, but what they do is exactly that. They say, "Here's the lore book. Just make whatever game you want with that character, but
Mhm.
just don't retcon anything. Don't add."
Yeah,
And
don't
they're
break the fourth wall.
exactly,
Like
and they're
just
letting them do their thing, but also they're keeping an eye on just narratively and just like with this retcon anything because I know there's a big old RPG about some ruined king or something. There's the what's it Ziggs. It's just it's a rhythm game where you just blow up bombs as this little gerbil man. And then there's another game where it's like a platformer, and it's indie developers like I really like this world that you created. I would like to make a game in it, and instead of everyone getting upset,
well,
like just have that option. Is don't retcon anything, make whatever you want.
but that's how you get all these different because there's so many different interpretations of how you could bring that game to life. That no one studio can bring all of that
You can even
out
make a
there.
Mass Effect RTS about the Contact Wars. Why not?
Yeah, you could do like space battles, command.
Space
Yeah,
battles or battles on the and then
yeah. Here's
you
your
pick your
units. How
faction,
do
which
you?
is
Yep.
Krogan, which is all right. You would probably know this more. During the Contact Wars, was it just humans versus aliens, or was it humans versus Turians versus Krogan
The
versus
first Contact War,
yeah, like
that was
all?
purely humans versus Turians
Oh, okay, okay.
because humans. Real quick, humans found the Mass Effect.
Relays.
Yes, the relays. Thank you. And they were just like, this is awesome. We found it, and they're activating them one after another after another after another. They wanted to go everywhere. They weren't thinking about any of that.
Yeah.
Whereas the Turians, who had been around longer, like with the Rachni and stuff, they were like, or I think they weren't around. That was before. Yeah, the Rachni was before the Turians. Anyways, the Turians are like, you have to be careful. There are dangerous races out there. There are consequences. You have to be, you can't bludgeon your way through the universe. So um, but because they're militaristic, they shot him. The humans were like, oh no, we got our butts kicked. And the Turians are like, haha, you suck. We're the greatest military ever. But then the humans came back and like blew them out of the water. And then that's what started the war. And it was gearing up to be like a full scale interspecies war. Then, because the Turians didn't tell the council about it, and then the council found out, stepped in, and was like, hey, 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 don't do this.
Oh, like the Turians never let them know. It's like, hey, we're having wars with humans.
They
right
were just
now.
like, yeah, we found these people, and like, we think they're doing bad stuff, so we're going to fight them to keep them from doing this bad stuff. Where in reality, it was just humans were stupid. They weren't aware of the larger galactic community.
Because they thought it was just Turians out there.
Yeah, they were like, oh no, we found these aliens and they're hostile. It's our biggest fear. And then everyone else stepped in and was like, yo, we'll help you open an embassy or an embassy on the Citadel. We'll bring you into galactic politics, but like, you do have to follow galactic law, which means if you find a Mass Effect relay, don't activate it. We gotta look and see where it goes first, and like, is there harmful crap going on?
I do kind of like that setup where humans like, wow, I've discovered this first, and we're gonna turn it on, and the council's like, bro, we've had that. No, we've known that's been there.
The more you know about that history, it makes it kind of more fun. Like when they talk about, they're like, everybody thinks humans are upstarts. It's like, if you know the full history, it's like humanity kind of were jerks and like upstarts and grabbing for power. Like, everyone else was around for centuries before they got to join the council. They were around for a long time before they got all this extra stuff, and humanity comes in. Mind you, when Commander Shepard goes in there, I think humans have only been around for like 30 to 50 years, something like that, in galactic politics.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're on the council, whereas everyone else, it's centuries, if not millennia, before
that they had to like fight their way there, which is why Saren hated them. Cause, like,
it's why a lot of people hated them.
You're like, yo, you can't just show up here and just think you can get in here.
But it made it funny because everybody's like, yeah, everybody hates humans. This is totally how it would go. It's like, no, there are reasons for this. It's not, some of it's baseless, but a lot of it is, they're just scared. Humans were like locusts. They appeared on the scene and then suddenly they're everywhere. So.
Because we breed like rabbits, and I think genophage and all that stuff for all the other.
Well, and that was the other thing, and that's why a lot of people didn't want them to jump up so quick, is because before the Turians were involved, it was just the Asari and the Solarians, and they found the Rachni, and the Rachni were spreading through, killing everybody, and it was a big war, and they were losing. So they found the Krogan, who also could breed very quickly, were very strong, yada yada. So the Solarians gave them all this new technology and jumped them centuries ahead.
That's right, and pretty much they were like, okay, we'll jump you centuries ahead.
And they're like,
kill the Rachni.
They're like, but we need your help. And they're like, cool, we love fighting anyways. So over a few, I might be wrong on this, but I think it took a few centuries, but the Krogan did hunt the Rachni to extinction.
Yeah.
But then they had already bred and spread throughout the galaxy because they needed the numbers to fight, and they didn't want to stop fighting, and they didn't have the renaissance and the mindset of, okay, we learned how to use all of this responsibly, so that's why the genophage got introduced, and I think the Turians came after that. It was after the genophage had happened, because that's why they couldn't replenish their numbers enough. And then the Turians came around and they had a stronger military and a whole big thing, but...
Yeah, and just that is a perfect example right there of how just big, wonderful universe, in depth, that...
But, and again, thinking about all of it in tandem, it makes more sense that people don't just hate humans, they're scared. If you jump them forward too much too quickly, they have actual real evidence of what could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily what will, but like, they almost lost galactic civilization once, and it had nothing to do with the Reapers. So they're like, oh.
It was all those little bugs, those bug people.
Yeah, it was the little lizard guy, the Solarians, being too smart for their own good.
Oh, man. Talk about Solarians, Mordin Solus.
I only know that because I'm playing the second game right now.
I love him. He's my favorite.
he was always I mean, I guess while we're talking about it, I want to go in depth on this. He was always such a fascinating character to me because I didn't like him. I actually felt sorry for him, but I personally didn't like him.
And he was one of the main who developed the genophage, right?
He was the he didn't develop the genophage. The Krogan through natural evolution were simply overcoming it. Birth rates were starting to rise on their own because,
Yeah.
I mean, after 1,000 years, their biology, they have a robust physiology and biology just anyway. So they were adapting to it.
Right.
So he led a team to, I don't know the exact terms, but basically they revamped the genophage. And so they made it so it stayed as effective as it was. Because he always, that's what everybody was like. They were trying to wipe the Krogan out. Realistically, they weren't. It keeps it's a very targeted birth rate. 1 out of every 1,000 pregnancies lasts. But because they basically breed 1,000% faster than all the other species, it was supposed to keep them at a level population.
Right.
Because that's Morden's big thing. He's like, I don't want them dead. I don't want them extinct. That's not what this was all about. But that was the science portion. When you see it in reality, destroyed all their hope. Nobody wanted to be a scientist because everybody thought they were going to go extinct. Like it, even though it was supposed to keep their population stable, it took away any hope they had. Because I mean, any species without children, well,
There's no hope there.
there's no future.
Yeah.
So you're gonna just let loose, and you're just gonna like, why do I care?
And that's why all the Krogans end up usually being bounty hunters. They're just like,
It's
"Hired
why
guns."
they
they're
didn't.
just like, fighting's the only thing I got, so I'm just gonna fight till I die.
Yeah, they're like, it doesn't matter if I die today or in 1,000 years, my race is dead. And that's why he struggled with it so much, is he's like, no, this is what happens. I have to, and that's why I always gave him crap in the game. I'm like, no, you did wrong. Like, they were bad 1,000 years ago. Like, you should fix this now. It's give them that chance, because then let them, in my opinion, let them stand on their own 2 feet. If they do war, all of the other races in the galaxy could take them out pretty quickly. But I don't know. That was why looking back and thinking, I probably think way too much about these games, but that was such a profound, like, all of this history and everything wrapped up into it. I didn't like him because I didn't agree with him, but I pitied him because that was an impossible choice to make.
Mm-hmm.
I like that it wasn't just your character who made these monumental decisions. Like, you met these other people, and the writers like flushed it out just perfectly. Like,
And they gave you all perspectives, every single
yes.
different side of what was going on. And once again, that's how rich and detailed a world is. And it stinks that they're just sitting on it to release a game every so often, when it would be pretty awesome if, I mean, the game could look like crap. The game could be a point and click adventure where you're a detective on the Citadel. That would be cool. I would love that. Like, I miss the Mass Effect universe. I miss universes and worlds like that. And it's frustrating when you have to wait so long for another entry, when there's really well-known indie studios that would probably be willing to pick up and just do a little side story to get more people into it.
And that's fair. I guess I should say too, like, how, just back to Elder Scrolls, how I complain so much about the wait. It's not so much the wait that kills me. It's that it doesn't have to be this much of a wait. Like, you're a big studio, you have all these resources, or like you're saying, split the profits 50-50 with a little indie place, give them some money and a little bit of direction on how to do it. They'll churn that out because they're a small dedicated team who want to make, they want to make their own name, because they obviously, you want people to know your work and stuff, but
right.
They also have, if you're smaller like that, I feel like the people who are doing it love what they're doing. So you're going to have that kind of extra spark put into these games.
And it's not as corporatized
Exactly.
as the big guys are.
So Bethesda goes to little Mr. Indie and is like, here's 50 million just to get you started. Drop in the bucket for them.
Yeah, and they're just like,
get it going.
I don't know, some kind of Elder Scrolls game, whether it's smaller or something. I don't honestly think it would work that well for Elder Scrolls, because Elder Scrolls has just found its place in a market as the open world RPG. And if you were to tell a smaller story that wasn't that, I think people would lose their minds. Does that make sense?
It does, but you're right. I was crossing the streams there.
No,
I think
it feels
they
like
could
Mass
make a
Effect,
full.
if it was
Well, I think in the indie people could just full on make the game.
Oh, you're thinking that they could just fall and make the
Yeah,
game.
subcontract it out. Let them full on make the game, or if you wanted, they made the blades for the mobile game, and I
Okay.
think you can actually play it on the Switch now.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bethesda did that or if that was an indie developer, but it worked.
I
You
think I
were
think it was Bethesda. I feel like with an IP like that, I think they're very reluctant to let it go. But also, like the Riot Studio or even Warhammer, they genuinely care enough about the IP. They're like, we just want to, have other people to give different. They're like different perspectives of it. It's like, oh, we're making a game about
yeah,
Echo, so it's going to be a side-scrolling platformer. Cool.
but like yeah, let them do these side stories. If you want to keep the main ones for yourself, that's
Oh
fine.
yeah,
But
main ones.
yeah, it's
I think the Elder Scrolls is probably the best you could get away with. Is like a farming simulator. Just takes place like you live in Whiterun. You just farm right outside.
the action is there's a raid and you have to try to run to the city, and if you don't get there fast enough, you're dead.
Yeah, that's yeah. It brings up a good point that this could only work with certain games. Mass Effect, I feel like it could work. You have
Yes, yeah.
established universe. All those are not open world. They're just like story. Literally storytelling experiences. But there's a lot of choice. Yeah, there are games and series that it could work with. Games and series it couldn't work with.
Yeah. I I don't know. Hopefully the market makes its own demands, and I think it's just in a weird spot right now. I'm hoping it
Because it's a transition. Like the whole episode point was talked about the Summer Games Fest, and the more we kind of discussed was nothing really awesome was announced because we're just coming off the coattails of the big, huge E3 not happening
yeah.
because of just current events and things that happened 2020. And now I
I
think with everyone's just adjusting to see, it's like, okay, what's the right way to do this? What's the wrong way to do this? I feel like Nintendo's route's probably the best route because it just you realize how spoiled you are in that with everything that is announced is a huge hitter. You heard absolutely nothing about it. There were no leaks because I'm pretty sure Nintendo they have almost like this borderline religious way of like nothing gets out. If something gets out, we I don't know, cut off your toes and we keep them all
probably
or
have to have an
something.
NDA, and it's probably a pretty
Oh yeah,
ironclad
yeah. Because
NDA.
leaks don't ever happen, like for Nintendo. I mean, leaks happen regardless, but it's like they don't ever get a lot of information.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, like leaks will happen, and it's like the whole game is the whole trailer. Nintendo, no, no, it's just like, oh, this game might be happening. Cool, okay.
Nintendo has no comment.
Yeah, they have no
That's about
comment.
what
And then when you
happens.
see the Nintendo Direct, you get hit with just all that, oh my gosh, they're announcing this. I can't believe that. That's so cool. And then, there's a few duds in there. Like I started at the beginning episode, but kind of Summer Games Fest was just a bunch of just things we already knew. And then the games that, were announced were just like, I mean, we kind of
Yeah.
heard through leaks, or yeah, it was kind of. I do think the Summer Games Fest. I think the best thing to come from it was a lot of indie developers got center stage, and if that promotes their game, I think that's awesome. But all the
I
big names, I'm like, whatever.
I
Nightingale looks good though. They did a little preview on that. That looks
nice.
good.
I think indies are gonna kind of get a jump up here because I think the bigger studios are they're charging too much. It's $70 a game now for on the newer consoles.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
that is a
Especially
lot.
nowadays with like
That's a lot.
is $600 for a console. Like I really think these indie $10 games are where people are going to start putting their money. So I don't know. Hopefully it does it and it forces the bigger corporations to change their tactics and maybe put out some quality product instead of
Because you spend the
quantity.
$70 and then you're just like, oh, I have to wait for them to update and patch and fix all this. And it's kind
Yeah.
of like, I understand
I
there's going to be bugs. I understand there's going to be issues. But when you throw something out there, I just want it to be functional and working.
let me put it this way. I think the last full price game I bought was the Dark Alliance game. Got burned on that, so I probably won't be doing it. But the one before that was the Mass Effect Legendary Edition,
Right.
and even that I don't think was a full $60.
No.
But
The,
that was honestly I don't remember before that what the last
the
full
last full
like
price game
new full game.
right?
I lied. Elden Ring, and even that I shouldn't have. I've barely played it. I
That is true. I've gone through it, and I kind of stopped bringing up stories only because I'm just like, yeah, it's just kind of like me just be talking to myself.
I loved it. I thought it was great, but
There's a lot of game there.
there is a crap ton of game there, and I don't have the time right now to dedicate to it.
But I mean, you got it for when you do. I think the most recent game I got full price, yeah, full price is because now that I buy most of my games off Steam, I only buy games when they like go on that $20 sale, like they get knocked out. That was like Necromunda. I got that for $20. And I only got it because I'm like, you know what? It's $20. If I don't like it, well, I can refund it. But if I do like it, I got it for $20, and I'll play it when I'm ready. Save it on my library.
I definitely bought Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer because it was on sale. It was like
Yeah,
50%
yeah.
off, so I got it for like $6-7, and I was like, this is great.
Worth it. But House of the Dead remake, that's what I got. Most recent. It's just a rail gun shooter for the Switch. You just shoot some zombies. I just wanted to shoot some zombies on on rail shooters. That is really a lost art form of games like that, with those like haunted house and shooting stuff. So I think we burned out all our complaints about Summer Games Fest.
Yeah, I was kind of bitchy today. I'm sorry, guys. I'm overtired. I'm blaming it on that.
Honestly, I already made the PNG before I even did this, and it was just you complaining. And I'm like, I just sensed it in the air. I was like, all right, I just put like the one picture we have of you complaining on there, and it says Summer Games Fest, and that's it. I'm like, yep, that's it. That's it.
I was pretty underwhelmed by it.
Underwhelmed.
I knew the games I wanted weren't gonna be in it, but I was hoping for at least something to tide me over, and I didn't see anything that was like.
Man, I think we just might have to grow up and get hobbies like golf and drinking mimosas.
I mean, You're like,
wait a minute, I do both of those.
I haven't had mimosas in a while. That's the orange juice and champagne, right?
Mimosas? Yeah, mimosa, yeah.
Yeah, those lead to bad days when you drink them in the morning. But
maybe we just have to grow up.
I'm in a golf league. I golf every Tuesday.
Golf every Tuesday.
I'm still really bad.
Dude,
but...
I want to golf. I don't know how to golf at all. I learned how to longboard recently, so like I
feel like that's the cooler hobby.
That is the cooler hobby. I love skating around.
You're just like you're getting fit. You're getting all these cool outside hobbies, and then there's me over here. Like my stomach keeps getting bigger. I joined a golf league. I'm complaining. There's like two paths in life you can take. You went the right one, and I'm just like
I went the cool one, and you drifted right into like the middle-aged man. Like I've given up.
Hey, my hair starts falling out. It's over.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's over.
My beautiful hair is like the one thing of my youth that I still have.
I recently went and I boarded at a church, like in their parking lot, because dude, that's a whole parking lot that isn't used. You good? You good over there?
I am literally thinking about you longboarding around with a bunch of teenagers on skateboards, and they're all just like, sick longboard, bro. And you're just like, yeah, man, it's like great out here. I love this.
my thought was coming skating at this church. It's kind of like right on the corner, and there's 3 different roads that intersect right at the corner of the church. So there's 3 different ways people are seeing me. I'm like, I swear to God, if somebody calls and complains, and I like, if someone shows up and I'm like a 30-year-old getting yelled at about longboard, I'm like, no one uses this parking lot all week. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm just going up and down.
Cops would show up, and you would just be like, I'm a 30-year-old man. I'm just trying to practice longboarding in a place where I'm not going to bug people.
Right. Or, a place that has pavement, because I live in the middle of nowhere, so there's no pavement.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thankfully, nothing did come of that. But I think later tonight I'm going to go over there and just longboard for a while. I just put in music and I just scoot around. It's nice.
Being outside is probably real healthy for you. I'm a cave troll. Yeah. I close all the curtains and sit on my couch. I am gonna look healthy. I'm gonna look like Gollum before too long.
You'll get there. You're
gonna come over one day and you're gonna open the door. The sun's gonna hit me, and I'm just gonna hiss at you.
And you just start burning, and it's very clear that you're burning.
I needs my cloakses.
All right. So with all that being said, we got to close up the episode because I gotta go check my dog. I think my dog's gonna have puppies soon or something.
You're gonna go
so.
home, and then she's just gonna have puppies all over
Oh,
you.
probably knowing my luck. She was fine. Nothing was happening.
She probably went to your bed and just had puppies in your bed.
No, I locked everything. She's just in the one spot of the house where she always does her giving birth of puppies. So she knows what to do. She's very good at it. I just always want to be there. Just be like, you doing good? You need anything? Coffee? Yeah, exactly. Dog freaking out. All right. Take care, everyone. Happy Pride Month. We hope everyone's safe. Be safe out there, and we'll see you next time.